Today, we're going up north again. This time to the AFC. We're going to be talking about the AFC North, Joe Burrow, the Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers, small hands, all of the above on this episode of the Beerly Football Podcast. Hello and welcome back to the Beerly Football Podcast. It's about football but barely. I am your host, Zachary Smith. Joining me as always are my two very good friends, Trevor Scott, Kerry Dempsey. How are we doing tonight, boys?
Pretty good, man. Ready to get drunk. I didn't start drinking before the show like I did last week, but the podcast that loves to fight takes on the division that loves to fight. So what could possibly go wrong?
Exactly.
What could possibly go right is the question.
All right.
How are you, Zach?
I had a bad day yesterday, but I'm here with the boys now. I got a new beer. And it's gonna be good. We're gonna have fun.
We always do.
We're gonna have fun.
What beer would that be?
I'm actually not Carrie tonight. My name is little Kenny Kid Mittens Pickett.
All right. What are you drinking tonight, Trevor?
I'm having just the most classic beer in American history. If you guys could give me a guess, what do you think?
Yangling?
Most classic beer in American history.
Bud
Close.
Light.
Carrie?
I feel like it's Yingling, and he's just
It's a
lying.
peach twisted tea, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
A peach twisted tea. That's the most.
What's the back up beer? You're just becoming a twisted tea guy.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'd ever
Sad
sponsor
day
us.
when one of our own falls.
Do you
What if
even
the
like
sponsor-
belong in the podcast? Like, why are you even here?
Twisted tea, sponsor us, please.
I mean, honestly, yeah.
I'll do
Although,
anything with this liquid.
there's a better hard iced tea than twisted tea. I hate to be that guy.
Which?
Oh, the thing that you always drink?
Two Hoots.
Hot.
Two Hoots. Two Hoots is really good. It's really,
Never
really
heard of
good.
I've never had it.
I've
I
only
kinda
had
like
it
it, like-
recently, and it's amazing.
I know there's like the off brands of twisted tea, and those aren't like Nestle or whatever they are.
I don't know what that is.
Nestle?
Maybe that's actual iced tea.
I bet they're like better quality too, the ones you're talking about. But if
Two
you're buying
Hoots
a
are
hooker,
definitely better quality than a twisted tea.
if you're buying a hooker, you want to spend a lot of money, or you just want to buy a hooker?
Yeah.
You know,
Probably spend a lot of money. I don't want diseases.
if you're buying a hooker,
If I don't want diseases,
oh,
Yeah.
like you get those either way, no matter how much money you spend.
Wow.
It just burns
anyway,
less the more
this
money you
is
spend.
not
Okay,
a
yep.
conversation topic that we really
This
need
is
to
a
talk
beer
about.
with-
Anyway, Kerry, what are you drinking tonight? Hopefully beer.
For some reason, I've been like stuck on dark beers or IPAs lately. I'm on a lager right now, Jack Abbey's Craft Lager, shipping out of Boston. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm not a dark beer guy.
All right, so I looked for a long time to find a drink for tonight, and I found a drink. It does have. It looks blue in the thing, but it's like a burgundy. It's like almost brown, and it's got orange on the can as well. So it's like browns, but it's from about 2 hours away from Pittsburgh. It's 855 Porter from Winding Path Brewing Company, made in the Keystone State of Pennsylvania. You guys are going to join with me here for a first taste. Ooh, it's dark.
Cheers.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's a
I thought about getting one from Pittsburgh.
roasty porter
Did you?
with
You really
notes
did?
of toffee and chocolate.
That sounds good.
That's pretty good.
Is it like a Heath bar, like that's been dragged through the mud?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's good beer. Shout out to Winding Path Brewing Company.
Shout out to Ireland.
And shout out to Ireland. So, AFC North, guys. Division
Mallett
with a
died.
lot of moving parts. Obviously, Cincinnati coming off of another good year with Joe Burrow and the best wide receiving core to boost a quarterback stat like no other. But, a lot of interesting characters in this division. You got a few good quarterbacks. Got some questionable morals going on in this division. And what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the AFC North this year?
And it's sure to be a fun one, as it is every year. Even if it's ugly football, it's a fun game. Also, did you guys hear that Ryan Mallett died today?
He did.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, today.
What?
Family.
Arkansas Razorback, great.
Baltimore Raven, New England Patriot, great.
He played a game for the Patriots, right? It was like week 17.
He might have played like one game, but he's a pretty high pick for the Patriots, but he just never.
He was big. I think I told you guys one time that he was a failed Tim Tebow experiment by the United States government. I said failed when he was. I said it a long time ago. But yeah, rest in peace to him. I think he drowned in Florida. Not to start off that so morbid, but
yeah, thoughts prayers him and his family.
Oh my god! Shout out. That's sad. I was a big fan of Ryan Mallett when I was a kid,
Ryan Mallett
in college.
But I like this division. I know no one's going to agree with me, but I could see every single team in this division winning it.
No.
Bengals, we know they have a chance.
Yeah.
Ravens, healthy Lamar.
Maybe.
Steelers, behind with a healthy TJ Watt and a mediocre quarterback play, they can do it. Browns, if that high-quality quarterback of theirs can turn back to what he used to be.
Women's rights leader, Deshaun Watson, if he can come out and put on a performance. I think that this is a two-team race. I don't think Cleveland is going to compete. I don't think the Steelers are going to compete. I just don't think they have the offense. And honestly, I don't think TJ Watt can stay healthy for 17 games. So I think it comes down to the Ravens and Cincinnati. And I know already who I'm picking to win the division. So
I think I'm not. No spoilers. No spoilers.
Cover the Bengals, boy. We know it.
My favorite player in the league is Lamar, so this is a really special episode.
Yeah.
And I hate the Steelers. I really hate the Steelers. So
I hate the Steelers too.
Speaking of that, let's jump into our first guest, the Steelers. All right, to represent the Steelers, we got Nick here. Nick, are you with us?
Yeah, man, I'm right here.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man.
Before you say anything, you want to just tell people where they could find you, promote yourself any bit?
Yeah, man, you guys can find me anywhere on Twitter at Farabaugh FB, Farabaugh FB. You can find my stuff at SteelersNow.com if you want to read Steelers stuff as well. So that's where you can find most of my work.
All right. Let's start it off easy. Kenny Pickett. For some reason, I've seen an insane amount of hype with Kenny Pickett this offseason. And he finished a bit better last season, but overall, more interceptions and touchdowns. Did show promise, but how do you think Kenny Pickett will respond in year two?
Yeah, man, I think Kenny Pickett is an interesting player because, I think he definitely had moments of promise last year. I think he actually did a pretty nice job of getting better as the season went on, which is why I think there's a lot of optimism around him. Started off really bad. 8 of those 9 interceptions he had last year before the bye week, only had 1 after the bye week, which was about 9 games. So he took care of the ball really well. After the bye week, he started to really become a more, I think, commanding quarterback of the room. I thought he looked just better over time. But there's still issues with him, right? Like, he doesn't have a great arm. It's a decent arm, but it's not an elite arm. He's good outside the pocket, but in the pocket he's a little jittery, runs into pressure. So I think those are questions. I think, though, they have to kind of figure out how they're going to open up the offense. And I think he's going to be a big part of it. How are they going to get more explosive plays? Because they were a team that went on the ground. They're going to do that again this year. They'll hit the ground running a lot with, Najee Harris and that new offensive line. But, I think Kenny Pickett has to carry a little bit of weight too. You can't just check it down. Can't just throw it to the sidelines all the time. You're gonna have to make a lot of tough, tight angle throws, tight window throws in the middle of the field. I think that's going to be the big thing. So I think there's good optimism around Kenny Pickett because basically I feel like at the end of last year he's a guy that just continuously got better. He showed clutch. He showed a clutch gene. I thought that was really good too. Right? The Ravens game, the Raiders game. He showed a good gene in him that not all guys have. But I think there's definitely a question of, well, is that just what he is? And if he's not going to take that next leap, I think that's when the Steelers get into trouble. So we'll see. I think there's reasonable optimism, but I think there's plenty of questions there still as a player before we can really say anything definitive about that guy.
Were you on the train that wanted Trubisky last year, or are you ready for Pickett to get playing time?
No, I was on the train to start Kenny right away. And listen, that's not a quarterback room to me that you look at and you're like, well, that's a great quarterback room, right? It was Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, and Kenny Pickett. There's not really a guy in there that you feel like super great about to me. But I think you had to go with the young guy, personally. You knew what Mitch Trubisky was. I mean, you really did. You saw what he did in Chicago. At best, he's a low-end starter. So, get Kenny Pickett, who definitely has some upside and who has gotten better each year of his career, both at Pitt, now into the Steelers. He got better, I think, from the first training camp practice to the end of training camp. Then he started that Week 4 game against the Jets, kind of came in at halftime, actually. Was really bad throughout those first 4 games, but got better continually throughout the second half. So, I don't know. I just feel like if you draft a young quarterback that is 23 years old and he's going to need time to mature, you should probably start that guy right away, even if you took him only 20th overall.
Now, funny you talk about the draft right there. I remember something that's been surrounding Kenny Pickett ever since he joined the league was them little hands and wearing them 2 gloves. I don't know if you saw the video the other day, him working out, but he had the 2 gloves on. Is that something like the fan base cares about at all, or is it still a topic of conversation, the size of his hands, or the fact that he's going to be wearing 2 gloves maybe when the weather goes down a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think it matters as much anymore.
Does it scare you guys?
I don't think it does. And the reason why is because I think part of it is that a lot of the Pittsburgh fan base already had exposure to Kenny Pickett before he came to the Steelers, right? Because he played at Pitt. So
yeah,
you kind of knew what he did. He played through bad weather games at Pitt. Even if you weren't a Pitt fan, you probably caught glimpses of Kenny Pickett. And listen, like the small hands thing, it was a big issue because of the fumbling, but that really wasn't an issue last year. They kind of taught him enough techniques, it seems like, to where his ball security wasn't an issue, and he seemed fine when he was being asked to kind of rip it through the wind and everything like that. I don't think the hand size thing's much of a concern anymore. I think there's other parts of his game, like his pocket presence, for example, that you should be much more concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's much of a topic anymore. In fact, I don't even think he was asked about it once at any OTA press conferences this year. So I don't think it's much of a topic anymore.
Okay,
that's good. Yeah, hopefully he's been squeezing a lot of balls this offseason, but so they won't have to keep talking about that anymore. I know that's one thing that's pretty peculiar. It doesn't happen, too often. But I remember that all about the draft. Everybody was talking about his hand size and everything.
I mean, this Steelers team, they're known for their defense. I mean, if T.J. Watt can stay healthy, I forget what the record was last season, but when Watt played versus when he didn't play. But when you have such talent like him, and another guy that's really gotten underrated is Alex Highsmith. And they did make a couple of moves this offseason, Cole Holcomb, Patrick Peterson. Were you happy with how they addressed the defense this year?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasoning to be pretty happy with how they addressed that defense. The cornerback room was kind of thrown to flux. Cam Sutton went to Detroit. He was your corner 1 last year. But you bring in Patrick Peterson, you draft Joey Porter Jr., draft Corey Trice. You bring in Shannon Sullivan, so you have 4 new corners. You bring in Keanu Neal. You re-signed DeMonte KZ, and obviously you have Minkah Fitzpatrick. That secondary, I don't think it's going to be one of the league's best, but I think it'll be a top half of the league secondary. I think it'll be solid enough. And then you have those young guys obviously coming in to learn and potentially give you some insight in the future. Now, I look at a guy like, the Cam Hayward, who is still an aging wonder up front. That D-line is going to be great. They brought back Larry Ogunjobi. They're going to be a great D-line. They're going to be one of the best D-lines in the NFL. That's what they've been for the past few years. T.J. Watt, though, is the key to this defense, as you all know. The record I think it was 8-2 when he was there.
Something crazy.
It really is crazy, and it's not just last year, right? That's a trend throughout his career. dating back all the way to like 2019. When he misses games, they don't win them. When he does play, though, they are a really good team and a tough out for any team. And obviously, they've kind of treaded water here the past 3 years since Ben Roethlisberger came back from that elbow injury. They really haven't had a lot of playoff success really since 2016 either. But T.J. Watt's been a big reason why they are even in conversations late in the year.
Yeah.
But to me, the defense is a pretty solid group. I think the biggest issue is going to be that linebacking core. I think it's kind of Cole Holcomb and a bunch of guys that are still trying to mesh everything together.
All right.
Would you take a prime TJ Watt or a prime JJ Watt?
I'd probably take JJ. I think people forget how good peak JJ Watt was.
Yeah.
Like 3 back-to-back defensive player of the years. He might be one of the most dominant players I've ever seen play football, period.
Obviously, defense is the name of the game for Pittsburgh, I think, anyway. In a division where there's a lot of hype around the other 3 quarterbacks, obviously Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, how do you think this defense is going to play them? Because you guys obviously have to play them twice this year.
Yeah, I think you play them aggressively. I think that they have kind of a formula for the Ravens right now. You look at Lamar Jackson's stats against the Steelers, and they're not very good compared to most teams. I think part of it's just being really aggressive at the edge. I think part of it's T.J. Watt. I think part of it is the front just being able to get pressure on them. So that's something that I think they have like a formula they can use against Lamar Jackson, right? And they stay competitive in that Ravens series. I think Burrow is a different story altogether because they've had some success against Joe Burrow. In other games, Joe Burrow has diced them up. I think it's been a nice back and forth there. Remember week 1 last year?
No.
Joe Burrow threw 4 picks.
No. I threw up in a World of Beer bathroom by halftime. That was terrible.
Oh, man, dude.
I had Joe Burrow on my fantasy team.
It might have. I mean, it was the worst game of Joe Burrow's season. And so.
Oh, the worst game of his career, honestly.
Yeah, it might have been, right? And so the Steelers have kind of a way of playing quarterbacks, no matter how good they are, where they can disguise coverages. They have Minkah Fitzpatrick, who can kind of go anywhere, and he's kind of the guy you got to watch 39 at all times. They kind of have these different plans. They can send the blitz. They can win with 4 up front. I think they kind of just got to stick to their plan, right? Win up front. Let their corners play aggressively. I think, that's the something that they have this year that they didn't have last year, right? With Patrick Peterson, with Joey Porter Jr., Levi Wallace is still there. They have some press man ability there, and I think that's going to be something that they look for because – listen, they talked about, the deep ball has killed them all the time, or T. Higgins has killed them, Jamar Chase has killed them. I think that's something that they're going to look to do, just be aggressive up front in the secondary. I think that's going to be something. So they're going to look to be opportunistic. I think Deshaun Watson's a different story. It depends on the type of player he ends up being, right? Is he the guy in Houston, or is he the guy we saw last year? Is he maybe an intermittent version of that? I don't think we know fully yet kind of what Deshaun Watson's going to be this year. But I think that they kind of won with 4 against him. But I think their biggest challenge is going to be, how do we defend Joe Burrow? I think that's always the biggest challenge in that division.
For sure.
What team do you hate the most in the division? It's got to be the Bengals, right?
What team do I hate the most?
Or is it the Ravens?
It's
I mean, the
close. There's a lot.
Ravens-Steelers rivalries are long-seated.
But right now, who do you hate the most? Or who does the fan base hate the most?
I think it's the Browns.
Really?
Well, I think, and the reason why I think it's the Browns is because, right, the mid-2010s, the answer would easily be the Bengals, right? Vontez Barfict and Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys would be easy to hate. The Ravens rivalry is just fun to me. I think that one is just a really mutual respect rivalry. You hate them, but it's not like, wow, I hate the Ravens so much. The Browns, though, man, they have a fan base that is so rabid.
Dog pound.
And I mean it, that dog pound, man, is ruthless. You see some crazy things out there. They are the loudest fan base in the division, I think. Period.
Really?
And I think I think it makes them easily more testable. And I think that's something that Ravens fans are kind of this quiet minority type that kind of come out when you face them, right? They're not overtly there. Same with the Bengals. Unless you say something really dumb about Lamar, Burrow, Chase, You're not going to get a ton of
Terry does that all the time.
Yeah, but you're like not going to get a ton of those guys coming at you. But regardless, the Browns have had like this like obsession with the Steelers since like they beat Big Ben and that corpse team in 2021. That's when the Steelers made the playoffs. It gave them their first playoff win forever, and they have held on to that, man. I don't blame them for doing that with, how that franchise's history has gone about. But, man, it's easy if you're a Steelers fan for those Browns fans to just get under your skin. I really do.
I didn't know that. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, I've never thought about the
I don't
Browns
know
as...
Steelers fans, to be honest. So you've opened up my eyes to a new perspective.
All right, I got one more question. No, last few years, Steelers O-line's been a pretty big issue. They addressed a little bit this offseason. Do you think this line's going to be good enough, especially in a division with guys like, Myles Garrett and a lot of weapons there?
Yeah, man, it's going to be better. I'll say that. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? It has a chance to be a top half of the group in the league. I think that's the biggest thing right now is that, you have good interior play. You have Seumalo at guard. You have Daniels at guard. You draft Broderick Jones. So you upgrade it and you help Kenny Pickett. And I think that's the biggest thing. They're just going to be classic Steelers football. You're going to be a throwback team, right? It's going to be unlike any other team in the league in a lot of ways because this team's going to go up front and they're going to let you know, listen, we're going to try and kick your behind. And I think that's something that
old-fashioned, hard-nosed football.
It really is. And, it's AFC North football if you think about those tropes, right? And those Ravens-Steelers games this year, I think, are going to be bloodbaths. I think similar to that late 2000s type. I think this could be like a really physical rivalry. You could see some of that fire come back out from those kind of teams. I just think this is going to be a nasty group up front in terms of the run blocking. I'm not sure how great they're going to be in pass pro. I think Kenny Pickett might still get whapped around a little bit, but I think they'll be a pretty solid group. They're going to get better, I think, next year as kind of the younger guys in that group grow. But I really look at this team and say they address the trenches, and that's what they kind of needed to do. I think that's when you have the questions you have at quarterback, questions you have at offensive coordinator, right? Kind of the way you make up for that is with the rest of the team, and I think they did a nice job of that. I think we'll see kind of where the Steelers float around, but I think that their offensive line is going to be one of the better groups in the AFC.
Okay.
And I forgot this one. Pat Freiermuth. I love Pat Freiermuth. Big Freiermuth guy. Where do you think he'll be ranked among tight ends after the season? Top 5, top 3, top 10?
Yeah, I think he's already top 10. I think you kind of.
Oh, he's definitely top 10.
Yeah.
I think he already is. He is a guy, man. With Darnell Washington now in that room, right? The guy that can just come in and he's like a 6'7" giant and can just wallop guys in the run game. Like, the cool thing about him is I think you're going to be able to just kick him out wide and put him in the slot more, use him in like a Travis Kelce, Darren Waller-ish role. So I think you're going to see his production go up this year. I think it should be pretty fun to see what you get from Pat Freiermuth. I don't know how much he can jump up. I think you have kind of a consolidated tier of like top 3 or 4 guys, but he could definitely be pushing that 6, 7-ish range, I think. I think that's realistic for him. So like top 7?
Okay.
Who would you say is the official wide receiver one on this team? Is it already Pickens, or would you still give the slight edge to Deontay Johnson?
I think Pickens. I think the moment Pickens becomes a more all-around player, it's him. But I think you still have to question how much he is a complete player. Right? He's your explosive guy right now. You kind of throw it up to. You make plays on the side and see with the contested catches, but Deontay's your do-it-all, move him around, separator. He's kind of your security blanket that Kenny Pickett goes to. So I'd say it's still Deontay, but, I mean, I don't know for how long. If George Pickens takes that leap, I think he's easily the alpha dog.
Yeah. And I don't think Deontay scored this past year. Is that right?
Yeah, he didn't score a touchdown. So part of that's his fault. Part of that is the offense's fault, I think. But
yeah,
Harry said he was going to be better in fantasy than Stephon Diggs.
That's not worked out.
That's not what he said.
there's a lot of bad wide receiver takes Kerry made last year. I'm hoping that he does it again this year because I'm looking to cash in again.
You'll see.
Hey, man.
I cashed in on a lot of bets last season.
And how many wins do you think for the Steelers this year? And where they'll end up winning?
I think They traded around that 9-10 mark over the past 3 years or so. I just think that's a realistic mark. There's look at their schedule, guys. It's a joke. Like, their schedule is not hard at all. They're a team that definitely got better over the offseason. And if you realistically expect Kenny Pickett just to take even like a small leap, right? It doesn't have to be like this leap of mankind. He doesn't have to be Joe Burrow. He doesn't have to be the next franchise quarterback of this team. If he just plays at like a mid-level, if he's Ryan Tannehill, the team probably is 9-8, 10-7. So I think that's a realistic expectation for them. And listen, I just say it to everybody. I'm never predicting the Steelers to have a losing season until they actually have one. Mike Tomlin is like a magician out there, and that's just kind of, I think, where you got to put it at this point. I think their over-under is like 8.5, 2. I think that's about right. I think 9-10 sounds about right to me.
All right, Zach, you want to ask your famous?
Yeah, I've done this every year. No, not every year. I did this last year, and it's really interesting to see everyone's takes. So I'm a big Jacksonville Jaguars fan, okay? Obviously, big second year for Trevor Lawrence.
Is that what we're calling it?
Promised. Anyway, I've asked this question to every guest we've had on the show since last year. What do you think the Jaguars' record will be this year?
Interesting. Well, I love the Jaguars' ability to have a wide receiver one now with Calvin Ridley. I think they've gotten better overall. I think I'm a big Trevor Lawrence believer. And listen, that AFC South isn't very good either. They should probably win that division. I'll say like 10-7, 11-6. Like, they should win that division.
Okay,
man.
I like it. I like it. I
like the Jaguars. I think they got one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. I'll buy stock in a team that has an ascending quarterback with a new wide receiver one.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
All right, Nick, where can we find you again?
Yeah, guys, you could follow me on Twitter at Farabaugh FB. That's FARABAUGH FB, or read my stuff at SteelersNow.com, guys.
Alrighty.
Thanks so much for coming on. Good luck to you and the Steelers this season.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, before you get our Ravens guest on, record predictions for the Steelers?
I'm glad you kicked them off before you asked me that question. You made me do it in front of the Bears fans last week, bro. You made me tell that man to his face like 4 wins or something. But
we didn't have a Bears fan on last week.
Oh man, I have schizophrenia. Anyways.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm glad I was prepared to walk up in here because I hate the Steelers, man. I was prepared to walk up in here tonight, give the Steelers a 6-11 record, and walk my happy ass on. But I'm glad he said that about this schedule, bro. I pulled it up. I mean, they play the Bills and the Niners in the first 4 weeks. After that, outside of their division, they got the Raiders, Texans, Rams, Jags, Titans, Packers, Cardinals, Patriots, Colts. There's no reason they win less than I really want to give them 6 wins. I hate this team. I'll give them 7 though.
I like this team.
I don't hate this team.
I'm thinking of 10-7, but it is all on Pickett.
Bro, Pickett had 7 touchdowns and 9 picks, bro.
But that's not their offense, and also he didn't turn the ball over in the second half.
Yeah.
If they carry a defense and he just plays like a game manager, this team could sneak in the playoffs.
Game manager?
A game manager. I'm taking them 10-7.
I actually completely agree with almost
a Starbucks
everything.
Manager?
What?
What are you talking about?
I actually completely agree with almost everything that guy said. They have a really soft schedule this year. The offensive line is better. The defense secondary is a little bit of a question mark just because we haven't seen the players in that secondary play in that secondary, if you know what I'm saying. But on the other hand, I don't think it's going to be bad. I'm unsure about the offense, but I'm kind of with him. I can't imagine them having a losing season with the schedule they have, because I think that they're better than 90% of those teams. So I'm gonna give them 9 no.
Think for your mind, bud.
I'm gonna give them 9-7 7-1. I picked a tie. Bro,
Wow.
imagine. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if I call that?
That would be nice. Who are they going to tie against? The Jags?
No, they're going
Maybe.
to tie the Bengals once this year.
You know, to be honest, the Jags and the Steelers have a similar team.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay.
You are
That is
dumb.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
no sense.
What if the Steelers
Alright.
were in the AFC South?
Then no. You
I'm
make
just saying,
no.
both teams led by
Alright.
their defense. They got good role players on offense.
What are you talking about?
You need to
What do
shut
you
up.
mean?
Shut up.
Stop listening to this idiot and head to our next guest.
That's
Did you
like
not
that.
watch the
That's
playoff
like that
game?
tweet
Or
that
the-
we got about like not letting the special intern tweet.
Yeah, don't let the special guy Trevor
How
talk.
is that weird? They're both led by their defense. They both have good skill players and a young quarterback.
Jaguars are not led by their defense.
Not at all.
Did you watch Week 17 or
They
the
don't
playoff
really
game?
have good skill players either. Neither are the Steelers.
They don't have young, good skill players.
We have
Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Pat Fryermuth, Najee Harris.
I wouldn't say they're good.
Do you want to say that's good?
Najee isn't.
All right.
you're a hater on Najee. I forgot.
All right.
All right. We're ready to talk some Ravens. Kevin, you there?
Oh, Raven.
Yeah, so they're gonna turn on my camera 1 second, guys.
Let's see.
There he is.
Perfect. Oh, I
I'm
love that
flipped.
palm tree in the background.
Yeah, I'm flipped
Great.
for some reason, but we'll let it ride. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
How we doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back.
Glad to have you. If you want to just tell people where you can find you, not your
Yeah,
home address or anything, but
Right. Yeah, you can find me over on Twitter at CalStriker34. Also, I host and produce Locked On Ravens 5 days a week, so Ravens talk over there, and also I write for Ravens Wire 7 days a week, so a lot of Ravens talk. From me.
Ravens talk all the time.
Yeah.
So obviously, a really good division. Baltimore led by one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL, Lamar Jackson. Before we get into record or anything like that, how do you think the Ravens stack up in this division? Do you think that they stack up pretty well with the offense and the defense, or do you think that some of the other teams maybe have an edge?
I think that this is still Cincinnati's division until someone takes it from them. That's not saying Baltimore or someone else can't do it, but I got to give them credit where it's due. They've won it the past 2 seasons. Have looked really good in doing so, but the Ravens have had some injury issues over the past couple of years. Obviously, Lamar's had the 2 season-ending injuries, so you kind of wonder what it could have been like. And the Ravens actually, in the wildcard round, they took Cincinnati. They almost took their lunch money from them.
Yeah.
One Tyler Huntley.
yeah, if you didn't fumble there,
Away. And it's a 14-point swing right there.
Yeah.
So they could have gone up 7 instead. They go down. So I think that there's a lot of potential with the Ravens, but until the Ravens can take it or until someone takes it, I still give it to Cincinnati. But I think they're firmly like number 2. I think Pittsburgh to me is number 3, and then Cleveland. They just have to prove something to me. I always used to pick them and say, well, their roster looks the best it's ever looked, and I've said that for like 5 straight years, and they've never done anything with it. So to me, I'm just Cleveland has to prove something to me, but I think Baltimore's number 2 behind Cincinnati right now.
Okay.
Were you nervous, or did you feel any sort of type of way this offseason when we had all these Lamar Jackson rumors floating around? You guys might lose your MVP.
It was a time. I think that once the trade request came down at first, I was a little nervous. But then I remember what happened with Deebo Samuel. That was last offseason, I think, and he didn't go anywhere. It was more of a leverage play. And it was really interesting, the timing of the whole thing, because it happened right as John Harbaugh sat down to talk to reporters at the owners' meetings. Like the second he sat down, Lamar tweeted out, his trade request, his thank you and whatnot. But to me, the path for both sides, the most likely and logical scenario was him returning to Baltimore. It didn't really seem like there was a lot of interest either way between Lamar seriously leaving. He just wanted to be somewhere where he could get paid what he deserves and play the way he wants to. And I think now with Todd Monken coming in, Greg Roman not being there anymore, he's going to be able to do that. And the fact that he got paid the current richest contract in NFL history is a pretty good incentive on top of that. So I think that, the trade request got me a little nervous, but after I sat down and thought about it, I was always in the over 50% he would stay club. I think it got down to around 55 at the very lowest.
Really?
But I'm glad it didn't go any lower because I don't want to imagine a full season without Lamar in there, maybe a Tyler Huntley instead, or I don't know. I don't know what it would have looked like, but I'm glad I don't have to talk about it.
At one point, I was pretty sure he was gone. At one point this offseason, I know a couple episodes. I thought I could see him going to Indy and Indy trading their pick for him, and them ending up with AR or someone like that. But
yeah.
He's staying in Baltimore.
It would have been tough. It would have been tough to, because their team right now was built to win. Mm-hmm. Where I think a rebuild would have been very weird. With not saying rookie quarterbacks can't come in and have a great year. Richardson is he's a more of a raw prospect than maybe a younger Stroud was. So do they need to give him that timeline? But then if Lamar leaves and you kind of go the draft pick / rebuilding route, it's like, what route do you take? Because with Marlon Humphrey there, Roquan Smith, Mark Andrews, some of those guys, do you trade them for value? Or do you just try to build around the rookie quarterback, give it a year or two, and maybe waste a couple years of the prime, but hope Richardson turns into something? So Lamar just fits their timeline, and I think they have a very concrete and set one right now with most of their guys, where they lost a couple, like they lost Calais Campbell, for example, in the offseason. That's a pretty big loss. They can kind of usher in that new wave of defensive line. Their timeline is made up of a bunch of 24, 25, 26, 27-year-olds, and I think that, to me, is a much better timeline to be on with Lamar than it is with maybe a 21, 22-year-old in a rookie quarterback.
That makes sense.
We're talking about spending all that money on Lamar. Spent a good amount of money, too. 13, 18 mil on OBJ. You expecting him to lock it down at wide receiver one?
I'm hoping
yards,
so.
1,300 yards?
It's such a weird question with him because when I don't remember when it was, but the report came out earlier in the offseason. It was he wanted like 1 year, $20 million. And I'm like, there's no way he's getting that. There was no doubt in my mind he was. But he proved me wrong. And the Ravens gave him 15 guaranteed, up to 18 million. And I'm sure money had a factor in him coming to Baltimore. He does want to be with the team. He made that clear, and I truly believe that. But to me, I don't know. I just feel like with Odell, he's someone coming off the ACL injury, and he's made it clear that the full year off that he took helped him in a lot of different ways. But can you rely on him to play a full 17-game season? I don't really know if that's the most realistic thing at this point. Now, the good thing now is that they have the depth to withstand an injury there, or even multiple injuries there. Last season, they went full youth movement. They said, we're living and we're dying by these young wide receivers, and if Rashad Bateman goes down, that's the end of that. And what happened? Rashad Bateman goes down and Devin Duvernay goes down. Yeah. And they were, at the end of the season, it was Demarcus Robinson as their number one. 36-year-old corpse of Deshaun Jackson was in there. Like, you have all these guys that, like, they brought back Sammy Watkins for a second stint. Now it's Beckham and Bateman and Duvernay and Nelson Aguilar. Hopefully the drops don't follow him to Baltimore, but I'm sure we might see one or two of them. But I think now the Ravens are in a much better position, even if Odell has to miss a couple games. I think on the field he'll be great, but it's just a matter of if he can stay on it for me.
That is one of the best videos of all time. Those people saving. It's like, we were dropping the kids out of the. Yeah. They were catching them. Not unlike that Aguilar. That's one of the best videos of all time. I saw that again this week. So.
That and the Denver Nugget jeans are some of the best. Yeah. The best videos.
Yes. Denver Nugget jeans.
That's probably the best receiving core we've seen in the Ravens in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Duvernay, Bateman, Flowers, all potential. OBJ, even if he's 3/4 of what he is. And then obviously you got the tight end duo, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely really played well. And hopefully J.K. Dobbins is healthy, but look at this offense. If Lamar and this team can stay healthy, this could be make a deep run in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing with this is that obviously by far and away the best receiver group Lamar's ever had. And with this, it's all the Odell signing was a flashy one. The Zay Flowers pick was a flashy one too, but people are kind of not sleeping on Mark Andrews, but I think people just forget they have him. Like, it's like, they also have Mark Andrews in that offense, because with Greg Roman, the offense ran through tight ends. It was you ran the football and the offense runs through the tight ends, and that's part of the roster construction that's so different this time around, because I don't think receivers didn't really want to come to Baltimore because of Lamar. Receivers love Lamar, players love Lamar, they want to play with him, but it was the system where the thing that stuck out to me was Juju Smith-Schuster back when he was deciding the first time between Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Baltimore. This is when he went back to Pittsburgh on the one-year deal. He went on Michael Irvin's podcast and said, I love Lamar, it'd be great to play with him, but the system, they run too much, it doesn't fit. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but That's pretty much along the lines of what he said. But for now, you have the receiver group that I think in this league you need to have that. And Lamar's made it very clear that he prefers throwing to running. And I mean, it's very, he's a good thrower. He obviously should prefer that. He's a quarterback. But to me, with Andrews and Likely and Dobbins and Edwards and these guys, plus the offensive line's returning 4 or 5 starters too, your only real hole is at left guard, and you're kind of wondering who's it going to be there. But I think this is a much more balanced unit, and the fact that now Todd Monken is the leader of that in the coaching department as the offensive coordinator as opposed to Greg Roman, we just didn't see enough growth. 2019 was historic. I mean, Lamar threw 36 touchdowns, second ever unanimous MVP. The rushing offense broke so many records, but it was after that there was barely any growth. And something that I think surprises people is the Ravens haven't been to the AFC Championship game since they won the Super Bowl back in 2012, 2013. They haven't won a home playoff game since then. So there's a lot of,
I was a big Ravens fan that year.
Yeah,
big
so
Ravens fan that year. I'm a Miami fan, so Ed Reed, Ray Lewis.
Okay. Yeah. Willis McGahee. I mean, all
of them. All of them.
And I remember with that year in particular, and any team really would have said after, I don't know how many years, 5, 6, with a coach like John Harbaugh, we haven't made the playoffs in X many years. We haven't been in the AFC Championship game. You know, we just need to cut bait with this guy. It feels like Harbaugh, Belichick, and Tomlin. You know, like Belichick has had the success recently to back it up, but Tomlin and Harbaugh, I think there's a very big divide within those fan bases about whether to keep them or let them go. But you got to be sure. You got to be certain.
Yeah, so I mean, the question becomes when you're talking about coaching changes, this is my opinion anyway, when you're talking about coaching changes, it's, okay, we could let this guy go, but who are we going to get to replace him? And what kind of credentials do they have? I mean, Harbaugh's won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Period.
That's
the same kind of thing with Tomlin, same kind of thing with Belichick. I mean, it's like, who do you want to replace the guy with? Because if it's not the right guy, you guys are going to be on a long losing streak, and your fan base is going to be even more upset with you.
Yeah, the thing with that is, too, it's like, if you let that guy go, you have to be 1,000% certain you're going to get a guy that's as good or better.
Yeah.
And on top of it, if a Harbaugh or a Tomlin were to get fired, there would be 10 teams lining up out the door to get him in there to be the guy. So it's sometimes change is needed, and you have to just move on for the sake of moving on because it's just not working. Yeah. But you have to be sure it's the right time.
Absolutely.
All right. Is Justin Tucker the greatest kicker of all time?
Yes. 100% yes. Look, Vinatieri makes a case. I'm not trying to disrespect him, but I just think Tucker has been so good for so long, and Vinatieri was too. But the elite kick making we've seen from 50 plus, from 60 plus even, we're never going to see something like this. At least I'd be very shocked if we saw something like this again. I mean, maybe we do. I know kickers are evolving. I know everybody deemed Evan McPherson like baby Tucker his rookie season. I remember when that was a thing, and then he struggled last year. But to me, I think it's Tucker. Maybe I'm a little biased. I admit it, but I think Tucker is.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair to say. I mean, he's certainly probably the best kicker in my lifetime. I mean, Adam Vinatieri, no disrespect, but I mean, like you said, from 50 plus, I don't think there's anyone I'd rather have taking a kick.
Yeah.
But I mean, now we see all these kickers on TikTok making like 70s with no rush. I mean,
yeah, it's so weird too because it back when the Ravens were kind of and they've been pretty blessed with some, like Matt Stover was really good for them
absolutely.
For a long time. Billy Cundiff, I know everybody remembers him for what happened against New England.
I love that guy.
But he was good for them before that, and then obviously after that his career was over. But it was just the Ravens now lucked into Tucker, and the story about him was he was going to sign with Pittsburgh as an undrafted free agent, and then the Ravens ended up saying, just wait, we're going to give you an offer, and he ended up coming to Baltimore. But when Tucker is on the field, it's such a rare feeling, I feel like, when every single time he just steps out there, you think he's going to make it.
Yeah.
And to me, whenever he misses, it's like I'm like in shock. There's like disbelief that he misses a field goal. It's just so automatic, literally. And so I don't know how long he's going to play. I hope it's a really long time.
You hope it's a Matt Stover
career. As long as he wants to, he'll be with the Ravens. He's
into
somebody
his mid-40s.
Yeah, he's a lifer there for sure.
You before this, you brought up the Tomlin and the Steelers. I want to know who is the maybe yours, maybe just the fan base overall, but the biggest rival in this division? Who do you guys hate the most?
Oh, that is
Gotta be
such a good.
Pittsburgh, right?
It's such a good question for people who grew up with the rivalry of Pittsburgh. Like there are people who remember the Hines Wards and the Ed Reeds and the Ray Lewis and the Ben, like all those guys, Troy Polamalu's. It's still like there's still that thing with Pittsburgh, but the thing is, the Pittsburgh rivalry is kind of shaped into the teams still hate each other, but there's respect there.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of respect with Cincinnati right now. Like I just don't feel like, the stuff with Eli Apple last year, and Eli Apple's a national guy now. Everybody hates Eli Apple. But I think with what the Ravens and Bengals have rivalry-wise now, I think to me, if you're talking about like pure hatred, I think that's it. I mean, there was a lot of drama last year with Roquan Smith, if anybody remembers, about the fact that the Bengals thought he was playing dirty. And Roquan Smith, the Ravens were supposed to play the Bengals in the walkout round that next week, and he was asked about, the Bengals are accusing you of being dirty, and all he said was, "See you Sunday," and like it's that kind of thing where I think the Pittsburgh-Baltimore rivalry, the teams don't like each other, but they respect each other. I think with the Bengals, they don't respect each other, and that to me, Cleveland also. There's always going to be the Cleveland-Baltimore thing with Cleveland moving to Baltimore and that whole thing happening. But I think to me, if I had to pick the biggest rivalry hatred-wise, I'll go Cincinnati right now.
Okay.
That's interesting.
And we talked about the offense for the Ravens. I want to talk a little bit about the defense. Obviously, this is a division with great offense in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow held up by a very good receiving core. You have Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. You have an improved offensive line in Pittsburgh. And Kenny Pickett's second year. Whether or not he takes a step forward, we don't know. But how do you think this defense shapes up against this division?
I think it's looking good for the most part. There are a couple of causes for concern for me, though. One is at cornerback. Marlon Humphrey's Marlon Humphrey. We don't have to worry about who Marlon Humphrey is. They signed Rock Ya-Sin. He's a solid 2-3 guy. Like he's a number 2, number 3. That's fine. The issue is outside of that, it's almost like the wide receiver approach they took last year, except this year they have Marlon Humphrey and Ya-Sin there. It's a bunch of young guys. It's guys like Pepe Williams, Jalen Armour Davis, Kyu Blue Kelly, who they drafted, Trayvon Mullen, who came over from the Raiders. It's those types of players, and it's the same thing with Bateman going down. The receiver room is cooked. If Humphrey goes down, that corner room is not doing anything because Humphrey is essentially going to carry that group, and hopefully the younger guys can step up, and you can find one or two of them to play solid. It doesn't have to be all pro level football, but just solid football along those two. The other position is edge. Edge was a really interesting one for them last year. Justin Houston had like 9 sacks in 9 games or something to start the year, and then had half a sack the rest of the season, and actually missed out on an incentive because of it. If he got 10 sacks, he hit an incentive. He had 9 in 9 games and didn't even hit it. So that was rough for him, just losing out on that money. But Houston's not back right now. It's going to be Odafe Owe, David Ajabo, and Tyus Bowser. Those are the 3, and essentially they're 3 deep. They have Tavius Robinson, who they took out of Ole Miss this year, but I wouldn't rely on him too much.
I mean, there's some potential in that group. I mean, it's not the best group in the world, but there's potential in that group.
And they're going to be banking on that. I mean, Ajabo and Owe have to take huge steps, and Bowser's solid. But if one of those guys goes down and you're essentially 2 deep there, they don't have a ton of inside-outside versatility. Like they had Jason Pierre-Paul last year. He could play both inside and outside just for snaps. But you can't really move a ton of guys out. Like Trenton Simpson, who they took out of Clemson in the 3rd round, who's an inside linebacker. He can play everywhere. He can play some Sam linebacker snaps if you need him to. But overall defense, you have Humphrey, Roquan Smith, who was great, Patrick Queen, defensive line with Justin Madubuike and Travis Jones was a 3rd rounder last year. They have really solid pieces, not to mention Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton, the back end of that secondary. So I think it's great. But again, you mentioned it with, the receivers in Cincinnati and Joe Burrow and Kenny Pickett and Deshaun Watson. Your secondary has to be on point. I think they're set there, except if you have to start relying 3 or 4 corners deep instead of maybe 2 or 3 deep.
Gotcha.
What's your final record prediction for the Ravens next season?
I've gone back and forth on this. I'm gonna say anywhere from I'll give a range 12-5 to 14-3. I'm leaning more 13-4 or 12-5. Their division schedule to start the year is intense. They have 3 AFC North road games in the first 5 weeks. They're done with divisional road games after week 5. Now, they do have Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and then in between those, it's Houston in week 1 with C.J. Stroud, and then Indianapolis in week 3 with Anthony Richardson. So you'd hope you could get 2 easy wins, hopefully. No one is easy, but 2 hopefully easy wins against rookie quarterbacks, and then go maybe 2-1 in the division. Maybe 3-0 is the goal, but if you slip in the division early, the AFC is so good this year.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to see 4 or 5 teams that miss the playoffs, 4 or 5 stud quarterbacks. We're going to say, how did this guy?
Yeah.
It reminds me of a couple years ago when, was it the Dolphins who missed with having like an 11-6 record or something?
I know Tampa missed with 10-6, and there was like 4 or 5 teams at 10-6 in the NFC one year. And, like, it mattered, like, matchups and, like, strength of record. And, like, it was crazy. But that was back in Josh Freeman days. That was when I was young gun.
that is a throwback. But, yeah, I'm gonna say 13-4. I think the Ravens' offense is gonna be the reason why I say that, because I think Todd Monken is just that much of a difference maker. You know, everybody talks about Odell and how big that signing was for them, but I think Todd Monken is the biggest for what they now, from the upgrade from Greg Roman to Todd Monken and just the free-flowing offense that he brings to the table. That's what I'm most looking forward to. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited to see it.
All right.
Zach?
Well, I've asked this question to every guest, and you answered it last year. What's the Jaguars' record this year?
I think I got that terribly wrong last time. I mean, I think
most
I really
people did. Most people did. And
I
it's
had, like,
okay.
What, I have 4-13 or something, probably something like that. I will say the Jaguars' record this year. I will say 12-5.
Hey, let's go. I'm liking you a lot more this time around. Liking you a lot more this time.
My
around.
record prediction last time was rough. I don't even have to know what it was, and it was rough.
5.
All right, Kevin, thanks for coming on. Want to tell again, find you on Twitter or anything?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, ChaosRecord34. I host and produce Locked On Ravens. It's a podcast. You can find it on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast, and also Ravens Wire Rip for USA Today, so you can find me over there too.
Hey, thanks so much
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Good luck to you in the Ravens this year.
Thank you.
All right, what we got? Ravens record.
Oh, man.
Trevor loves people named Raven.
Yeah.
You bitch.
I like this Raven team, but I'm just worried about their health.
10 wins for me.
What?
10 wins.
10 wins? I like their team. I'm just worried about their health. Like, if Lamar goes down, team's mid. OBJ, the receivers, kind of had health issues. But if Lamar stays healthy, I'm going to give him 11 wins.
I'm assuming he does.
You know, Kerry, I was almost at 11 after talking to that guy, but I can't do it. I'm going 10-6 or 10-7. Sorry.
Wait, what'd you say, Trevor?
I also said 10 wins.
So I said the highest.
What did you say, 11?
I said 11.
Yeah, Trevor's
Wow.
a fake Lamar fan.
Yes, so.
I am not. That was quick, Kerry. I was just typing it too.
I know. All right, ready to talk about the team with the highest, classiest quarterback in the NFL?
The Cleveland Browns!
Shout out to Cleveland, man. I hear they don't really see the sun there that much.
Wait, is that true?
I heard it's pretty gray and like dark blue there year round.
Okay.
Pretty gloomy.
Do we have a guest for the Cleveland Browns?
Yes, LeBron. Welcome to the show, LeBron.
We don't.
We don't. Okay.
Not. But
I wish
I
we
feel-
had Gab's thick ass on here, but
Gab
I feel
Gowdy,
like-
we missed you on the show. If you ever want to come on, you're more than welcome.
Trevor would love to have you come on.
Okay.
bro.
We need to relax, gentlemen.
But this is another team. I feel like it comes down to 100% quarterback play. Deshaun Watson plays like he did in Houston, the playoff team. If he plays like he did last year, this team is nothing.
What does their wide receiver core look like this year?
Amari
I like
Cooper, Donovan
Amari-
Peoples-Jones.
DPJ, Amari Cooper.
Anthony Schwartz.
They got Njoku at tight end, who's pretty good.
I forgot they got Elijah Moore. They still got Anthony Schwartz.
They got Elijah Moore was second round pick. Anthony Schwartz is like 8th on the depth chart.
Oh, he's not. He's gotta be like 5th.
He's 8th. They also have Mark.
No way, bro.
Ahead of him is Cedric Tillman, Marquise Goodwin, David Bell, and Jalen Darden.
Marquise Goodwin is still in the NFL?
That's what I was thinking, the same thing.
I didn't know Jalen Darden was there.
So is Jakeem Grant
Darden's not a wide receiver, first off.
He has to be, though. Where else can you put him?
I'm surprised they didn't bring back Kareem Hunt.
They didn't bring him back?
He's still a free agent.
Wow.
And they didn't bring back Dearness Johnson. So the RB2 right now is Jerome Ford.
Yeah.
And this has been a ground team that's had such a deep running back core for years, and now it's literally just Chubb.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford. That's crazy.
There's not like
Nick Chubb is the same age as Christian McCaffrey.
I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, shout out to Jackson Clark, by the way. He's a Browns fan.
I don't know a Browns fan, so I can't say shout out to anybody.
Future Trevor right there.
Sorry.
But like, what do you see the holes in this team? They have pretty good O-line. The defense led by Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, and the front seven's pretty good. They got Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward in the secondary.
You need to be careful talking about holes when you're talking about this team.
Shout out to Deshaun Watson, women's rights activist.
He's got a really touching story. Let's just not even talk about football. Let's just make a bunch of Deshaun Watson jokes.
I agree. I mean, I think, in my opinion, I honestly believe this is the worst team in the division.
Really?
I don't think. Well, I mean, with the loss of Kareem Hunt, they're not as deep on offense, especially at the running back position. I don't think their wide receiver core is that good. I think DPJ and Amari Cooper are fine. I think Amari Cooper is actually better than people give him credit for. But I think DPJ is overrated as a wide receiver, too. I think he's a wide receiver 3 at best.
He's not wide receiver 3.
Huh?
He's wide receiver 3.
Elijah
Moore.
Who's there, too?
Elijah Moore.
From the Jets.
Elijah Moore's... He's fine. I mean, he doesn't...
He's a ton of potential.
Huh?
He also was playing with Zach Wilson, and they didn't play him in New York. I feel like he could go off here.
Listen, Kerry, I'm sick of excuses, okay?
You're sick of excuses?
Bro,
what
Zach Wilson is a pretty good excuse, bro.
I don't care.
Hey, Mr. Zach Wilson
he
boy.
also had Mike White, okay? 7 touchdowns. Wait, did Mike White throw 7 touchdowns in a game? I thought he did.
He didn't play like more last year. He would like get randomly like suspended and just like wouldn't play throughout the year. I don't know why. But he finally got traded. Elijah Moore. Remember he kept getting like he wouldn't play at all last year. But he's got a ton of potential.
He went to Ole Miss, right?
That sounds fair. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, Ole Miss.
He's good, bro. I wish he would have stayed there for Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers. He's got his little wish list. Aaron Rodgers.
Watson. Do we think Watson could be like top 5, top 10 again?
I think he could be top half of the league. I don't think top 5, top 10.
I mean, he loves being the top half, but he's not a bottom half guy.
I feel like.
I would disagree. I think he's more of a bottom half guy.
Yeah.
It depends on the day. Depends on what he's feeling.
I don't think I could really get one off to a neck massage, but teach their own. I can't believe I just said that. But
because Trevor has gone on to a neck massage that I gave him in college.
Oh, yes.
Zach was a great roommate.
We supported each other.
I feel
emotionally,
like
sexually.
Wow. Interesting. That's what I was hearing all those nights in North Lake.
No, it's crazy. Kerry wasn't even our roommate. He just lived in the same building.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But there's no way he can be worse than he was last year.
I mean, there is a way he can be worse. He just
is worse. He hadn't played in like 2 years. Obviously, he's going to be rusty.
Yeah. When he was good, he was top 6, like, consistently when he was, like, doing his thing in Houston.
But, like, I think we'd all agree, like, after, like, the top 6 or 7, or more normal people, not like your dumbass, Trevor, We need to talk about it later. Your top 10 list.
We should have talked about it at the beginning. Oh well, we can talk about it later.
After the final guest, but like I feel like after the top like 6 or 7, it's pretty arguable. Like guys 8 through 14, but like Deshaun Watson could be in that like top 6 conversation if he comes back to what he used to be.
Maybe.
But look, y'all remember when Tua had them like 5 straight good games and everybody was putting him in the top 5?
Trevor,
and, like he had MVP.
Trevor, you're talking about yourself right now. I don't know why you're saying.
He was literally.
You remember when everybody was doing that?
No, he was literally in the MVP race
for like 4 weeks.
Yes. Okay, but do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember the season Case Keenum was like a top 10 quarterback?
Just listen.
Shout out to Case Keenum.
If Tua could get up that high, you don't think Deshaun Watson could do it? Especially in Cleveland.
Well, I think he could.
Wait, especially in Cleveland?
Yeah.
When has Cleveland had a good quarterback in the last 40 years?
I'm just saying, they got a good line, they got a good running game.
Who's their head coach right now?
Stefanski still.
Yeah.
Stefanski still?
He won with Baker a bit. Hasn't done much lately.
Listen, guys, I'm going to go ahead and throw out my final record prediction. I think this team is going 7-10. I think that they're the worst team in the division. And it's not just based off their offense. I think Deshaun Watson will be better this year. He will be better. But I don't think we're going to see Houston Deshaun Watson. I don't think we're going to see that. We might see it at some point.
No, wait, Zach. Let's hear it for a clip. Has Deshaun Watson peaked as a quarterback in the NFL, Zach?
Yes. He peaked.
Say that again.
He climaxed?
Listen, I'm going to say it right to my camera.
He climaxed?
Do it.
I'm going to take my... Hopefully this doesn't disconnect. It didn't. Okay. Deshaun Watson has peaked... Oh, that was really loud. Deshaun Watson has peaked in the NFL. He will never get back to what he was in Houston, and that is a promise. He had a top 3 wide receiver at the time. He doesn't have that in Cleveland, and it's going to show. There you go.
I mean, is Amari Cooper top 10? No. Top 15?
He's borderline. I think he's better than people give him credit for, but I don't think he's great.
He's at least top 15 at worst, I'd say.
I'd agree with that. I think a lot of people have slept on Amari Cooper his entire NFL career. Because he's been stuck with some trash quarterback in Dallas.
Like... I don't know. I like this defense, though. But this is a division with a lot of good defenses. But honestly, I'd put them as the second best defense in the NFL, in my opinion. I think it's... Or not the NFL, sorry. In the AFC North. Not the NFL.
I was about to say, God damn, Gary, that's a bold statement.
I think you got the Steelers defense, Browns, Ravens close, and then Bengals. But, like, they're all pretty compared. They're all really good defenses. But this is going to be a really fun division to watch. Like, these are going to be some good games, as always, in the AFC North.
Yeah, I mean,
How many wins are you giving them, Kerry? Zach's giving them 7.
I'm going to give them 8. I think
I'm gonna give them...
But it's more that I gave the Ravens. The other one so many wins, I have to even it out. But I'll give them 8.
Okay,
But I can easily see him winning like 10 or 11.
So you agree they're the worst team in the division? That's what...
Yeah.
I mean, by the record you gave, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't like doing it. How about that, Zach? I don't like doing it.
But you did it. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. You did it.
But I didn't like it.
Give me Baker over Deshaun Watson any day. You can clip that shit.
Come on.
You can clip that shit.
Deshaun Watson, Zach?
In Cleveland, yes. In Tampa, no.
You're nuts, dude. Zach with all the flips
I'm crazy, man. I'm insane. I'm 2 quarters in. I'm halfway through my 3rd.
The Cleveland Browns.
So, Zach, what it's...
Oh,
5
shit. 5 wins?
5 losses, 12 wins.
No, you're
Cleveland!
lying. You're lying. You're lying.
Lock it in. Lock it in.
You're lying.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
Oh my
Really?
god.
Is
I gave him
this the
14
team you're gonna
last
believe in?
year.
So you have them
Is this
going to
the
the
team-
playoffs then?
Yes.
How
That's a
many?
lot.
How
Is this the
many
team
do you
you're
think they
believing-
win in the playoffs?
Oh man, that just depends on the matchup
You
and
think they're
everything.
better than
But
the Ravens?
sadly,
Really?
Wow. This
Over
just
Lamar.
in, folks. This just in. Hold on, I gotta
A
get my
healthy
microphone
Lamar?
again. This just
I'm a
in,
Lamar
folks.
fan. I'm not a Ravens fan.
This
right?
just in, folks. Trevor has just taken women's rights activist Deshaun Watson over Lamar Jackson. This is a very interesting moment in beer league sports. I just want to let everyone know how important this is. All right,
Ravens
microphone
literally
going back
made-
down.
The Ravens
Oh
literally made
shit,
the playoffs.
Trevor! No, stop! You can't do that.
They literally made the playoffs with Tyler Huntley last year, and now they have a healthy Lamar, a healthy offense, and you're taking the rapist guy and his little bum teammates
Yeah,
over.
that's wild, bro.
No, I'm very shocked by it. I feel like you're doing this.
Cleveland. This one's for you. 12 wins.
Trevor, you went for Denver all last year, and that was your biggest L. So I feel like this is going to be your biggest L this year.
I might be eating my words by like week 5, but fuck it.
It's for Gabby out here, right?
No, I know a lot of hot Cleveland Browns fans, not just her.
You know any hot Cleveland Browns fans? Name one. Besides, name one.
There's this girl, Shalissa.
Okay, he definitely just came up with that name.
Oh, she's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. She loves the Cleveland Browns. She loves her mama. She loves Trevor Scott.
All right, Trevor, let's say while we wait for our final Bengals cast,
Shalissa.
you had a very controversial
You used to
quarterback
be
list
better
tonight.
at thinking on your feet, Trevor. I'm disappointed.
Me and Zach's QB list will also be debuting in the next few weeks on Twitter. Trevor, why don't you explain some of your picks? You got hated on a bit. Some people called you special. There's a lot of Trevor Twitter.
That was my favorite tweet that Carrie has ever sent to the group chat. Was like, hey, it's cool that you let the special intern tweet every once in a while, but maybe don't let him rate players.
You know what's the worst part, though? He was like, he made a funny comment like that and replied again. He's like, who'd ever listen to your bum-ass podcast? It's like, bro, you had a good comment.
Bro,
Why-
okay, listen here, buddy. Okay,
John 4699.
okay, who would ever listen to our bum-ass podcast? Okay, apparently you'll reply to our bum-ass tweets. So who's the real bum?
Trevor
You
Scott.
are.
No, not me.
All right, Trevor, take it away.
Man,
Why was Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert not in your top 10?
Yeah, I have
First of all-
questions. Why is
First of
Dak
all-
there?
Trevor Lawrence has not solidified himself yet. I
Oh,
still
but
think he's a
Dak
little
has.
behind. I believe in him long term, but just not yet.
Okay.
What has Dak done that Trevor Lawrence can do?
Listen, this is how I made my list.
What is Jared Goff?
Wait,
Well,
I just want to
number one-
wait. Before you say anything, I want you guys to listen to the phrase you just said, because I got so much shit for my top 20 in the NFL list. I was wrong about one very specific player who will not be mentioned. It was bad. It was a bad pick. I'll agree with that. But
remember it
I remember, this is how I made my list. And that I got so much shit for that from you two. For saying, this is how I made my
Gave me
list.
shit for it, but I'm saying Patrick Mahomes will have the first best season out of quarterbacks this year. Jalen Hurts will have the second best season. Josh Allen will have the third.
You think
Burrow
Dak
fourth,
will have a top
Rodgers
10
fifth.
season?
I think so. I like Dallas a lot this year, offense and defense. I like Brandon Cooks over in there too.
If Justin Herbert wasn't Justin Herbert and was some other quarterback, you know Trevor would put him there.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why?
Because he's better than
I don't
Dak.
think he's gonna do. I don't think he's gonna do. I
Haven't
think Dak's
been
gonna have a better
Justin
year.
Herbert.
I
There's
think
no
Dak's
Every
shot Dak
single-
has a better year. I'm
Every
putting money
single
on.
list
Wait,
of the
Trevor.
show
What's the bet? What's the bet? And by the way, how we have to figure out a way to do this. How are we doing
frame
better?
the word better.
Yeah. How are we defining the word better?
Like
I would say,
touchdowns?
like,
Touchdown to interception ratio, QBR. What are we doing?
Yeah, QBR. No, Trevor doesn't think QBR is a real stat.
I mean, it is.
I think he'll play better football, and it'll translate to them winning games.
Trevor, I'm trying to make a bet with you. I'm getting the notebook out.
I think he's set up better. I think Dak is set up better. That's why I have Jared Goff at number 8. I think he's set up better.
Jared Goff's definitely set up better than Dak. Not that book.
It's the top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
The only reason I have Matthew Stafford on here is he gets to throw to a healthy Cooper Kupp.
He's nobody else on that team. Matthew Stafford is not top 10. He's not getting anywhere near the top 10. That is a ridiculous statement for a said.
It's not like he threw to anyone else when he had anyone else, bro.
He didn't do anything with Kupp last year. He sucked.
Kupp wasn't healthy.
Terrible.
Neither one of them were.
Kupp was healthy.
Or Stafford wasn't healthy.
Stafford was healthy too. He did nothing.
Trevor, give me a bet on Justin Herbert versus Dak Prescott. Come on, man. You're so confident Dak's at top 10.
Dak will have a better season.
How are you going to define it?
He's going to define it with life.
I mean, like, at the end of the year, like, everyone would rather have the year Dak had than Justin Herbert.
So we talking wins, losses?
Like, I think...
Because wins aren't a quarterback stat. We agree on this. We've talked about it before.
Yes. Yeah. I think Dak has the year this year like Joe Burrow had last year.
That's not...
You gotta explain it, dude.
And Joe Burrow had a better year than Justin Herbert.
What stat are we looking at? Because I want to make this bet. I really do.
Trevor, you have to be more specific. Trevor,
I'm not looking at the stats.
Trevor, you can say shit out of your ass. Doesn't make it come through your mouth.
Actually, I think shit is coming out of his mouth. Because he's not saying anything.
If Justin Herbert has more yards, he has 500 more yards, but Dak plays cleaner football, they win.
So cleaner football, we're talking about interceptions, right? Turnovers.
Say something. You have to say a physical stat we can compare. Otherwise, you can just say it out of your ass and it doesn't mean anything.
All right, let's go QBR.
Okay, QBR. Right. I'm taking Herbert over Dak.
I'll take Herbert.
Well, I'm making the bet, Kerry, so I don't care.
I'll believe you.
Get out of here, man.
Herbert v. Dak. Just better one. What's the bet, Trevor?
Life.
How about next time, after the season, the next time we see each other when we do that off-season episode where we all meet up?
You'll kiss on air.
I'll do that for free, honestly. Herbert versus Dak. Next time, you have to... Here's what I want you to do, Trevor. I want you to buy me a beer, and I want you to serve it to me, and we're going to video it, and we're going to post it on the Insta and the Twitter. You have to serve it to me. And if I don't like your service, I'm going to send it back. You have to buy me another beer. You have to serve me well. And I'll do the same thing the other way around.
That. That's good, that.
In your underwear.
We're going to be at a bar, so that's probably not happening.
I don't care, dude.
I don't want to get arrested, so we're not doing that.
Okay.
All right.
Fine.
Beer service. That's the bet.
All right. We're a little drunk. We ready for a final guess?
Bro, I am a little bit tipsy, but let's go. Let's do this thing. We made a bet tonight. Listen. Bets are the core of the Beerly Football Podcast. If there are no bets, there's no Beerly. Let's go.
Check out Beerly Bets. Why not?
Shout out.
What the hell?
John, we there?
Yeah, some dude just cut me off. What the?
Wow, Zach.
Life.
No, not voice-wise. I'm driving right now.
Oh,
gotcha. What are we talking about right now? Are you driving in Cincy? What's going on? Cincy traffic?
Yeah, I'm 3 minutes away from my apartment, so.
Oh, okay, good.
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man.
How are you?
What?
I would ask
Good.
you what beer you're drinking, but I'm hoping it's none.
Well, I don't want to incriminate myself on Discord, so
First of all, where can we find you on Twitter or any platforms?
oh god. You can find me on Twitter at John _Sheeran, and then I got some articles up at A2ZSports.com.
Awesome.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. You should be pretty confident, right? That you guys, the favorites for the division heading into the year. How confident are you on that? Who scares you the most, too?
It's a weird mix because I don't believe there's been a back-to-back AFC North champion maybe ever. The division's only 20 years old. And it's just the Bengals, Steelers, Ravens, Browns don't really exist when it comes to division titles. They've never done it. So, yeah, I think the Ravens are probably still the team that's closest to competing with them. I think the Steelers are a pretty good team, and they're always going to be around 500 with Tomlin, but I don't know if Kenny Pickett is that guy yet. I think he's a guy that can lead him to a wild card spot, but I don't think they're a true contender for the division title this year. So yeah, it's the Bengals or Ravens. I think this year, just because again, I need to see the Browns actually put it together before I predict them to do it. But I guess they could surprise to some degree. So yes, the Bengals should at worst be second in the division, but obviously they're good enough to win it again.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to finish second, you think it would be to Baltimore?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Where do you have Joe Burrow in your quarterback rankings right now? Do you have him top 2, top 3, top 4?
Top 1?
Top 1?
No, top 1 was a brief conversation, I think, towards the end of the season, and then Mahomes did what he did on a bad ankle, and it's just hard to. I'm not going to sit here and say that Burrow is as good as Mahomes. Mahomes is he's one of one. He's the greatest I've ever seen with my own two eyes, and for a lot of reasons. But Burrow is. It's tough to rank them individually. I like to put them in tiers, and I would put Burrow just very squarely in that very next tier. If Mahomes is S, then obviously Burrow and Herbert, Allen, maybe even Hurts at this point, they're all A. And I think at that point, it's just a lot of preferences. It's splitting hairs, and I've gotten to the point where I know who Burrow is. I know he's as good as advertised. I know he can get you to the Super Bowl. He could probably win you a Super Bowl, which is obviously the hope. So. With all that being said, if you want to put him 2, if you want to put him 5, both are fine. In that range, I'm not gonna argue, die on a hill for any specific ranking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get him see him hitting those home runs? The Reds ballpark.
He claims he never swung up. He hasn't swung a bat since 8th grade, but
that's a lie, bro.
Yeah,
no way.
That looked crisp. That looked smooth.
He's just him. What can I say? I don't know.
Trevor, your
Are you a
camera
Reds
is
fan?
frozen, by the way.
Oh.
What was that?
One of your Trevor's camera is frozen. One of his eyes is half open, one of them's closed.
Maybe he's really drunk.
It looks bad. It's a bad look. I was just letting him know.
Maybe I'm just really drunk, man.
It's definitely a possibility.
So you look at this team. You had a couple moves in the offseason, Irv Smith, Orlando Brown, but nothing really crazy. You think this team is, ready to take on the Chiefs and beat them again in the playoffs?
I wouldn't say that they're necessarily worse. I think losing both Jesse Bates and Von Bell creates a very big question in the secondary. I think if there is an area where they could handle or mitigate a lot of turnover in the defense, it is in the secondary, because that's where Lunar kind of got his chops as a coach. So he's always been good at kind of plugging the right pieces in there. And I think their safety room now is as diverse as it's ever been. You have Dax Hill, who can play basically in the box, like an overhang defender. You can play free safety, you can play strong. Pretty much the same thing kind of goes with Nick Scott or Jordan Battle. Looks really, really talented out of Alabama. So that's the biggest places where they kind of lost talent.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's very much unknown what those guys can do.
Yeah.
In place of 2 really good players in Bates and Bell. But if that's your biggest drop off from last year, and you have a better offensive line, you have basically all the core talent coming back on offense, and hopefully an improved pass rush with Miles Murphy. I think at the very least this team is the same level of talent as last year, and it's just year 3 of kind of this renaissance with the Bengals. So obviously there's maybe a more of a sense of urgency. So I think they're in as good of a position as they possibly could have, because like keeping both Bell and Bates when you have Chase, Burrow, Higgins contracts coming up, it just wasn't really in the cards. So like, this is about as good as a situation as you could expect, considering what the future is about to be.
Mm-hmm.
You think they're going to keep Higgins, or do you think he'll move on?
They're going to absolutely try. I think when the team kind of returns for training camp, that's when the earliest sign of a Burrow extension is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen at the beginning of training camp. I don't know if he's going to wait for Herbert or whatever, but I think as soon as Burrow gets done, they're going to try like hell to get Higgins done before the season. And if not, Higgins will get the tag. He'll get the Jesse Bates treatment probably. I don't think Higgins is coming back if he doesn't get extended. I should say Higgins is not going to be under a long-term deal if he doesn't sign an extension before this season. So I think they're going to absolutely try, and I think they're going to try, obviously, to keep Chase. Like, that's, I think, been the plan for a year now, and they've kind of been building the team, drafting heavy defense, like signing offensive linemen, like making sure that the team is in position to take on all three of those like albatross contracts. So whether it gets done or not, I don't know, but I think that's definitely their mission.
I'm still taking Higgins as the best wide receiver 2 in football. I think him and Waddle are very close.
Waddle?
I'm taking Higgins over Waddle still.
I am too.
It's very close. I think they're the best. Dominic Smith, a little bit under, but
Is there a faction in this Cincinnati fan base that believes that Justin Jefferson will be a Bengal one day?
what?
That would be nuts. What would have to happen? You have to trade what? You have to trade Chase or Higgins, like at least one of them, like 3 first-round picks. Because I don't think you're like Minnesota's going to sign him. Like you're not going to be able to get him in free agency, but that'd be kind of dope. Like reuniting. Like I wouldn't do it if you're breaking up both Chase and Higgins, which like that would absolutely have to happen. But can you imagine Chase, Jefferson, and Burrow in the NFL together? It'd be crazy. That would be nasty.
Obviously, you're a Bengals fan, so you might be a little biased. No offense, but Jefferson or Chase?
I think Jefferson.
I like it. Honestly.
Because because Jefferson, like when people started taking notice of him, like Chase and Marshall were outside in LSU, so Jefferson was in the slot, which is why he dropped inexplicably in the draft. But he's pretty much every bit as athletic as Chase. He may not be as strong because he's not as thickly built, but he wins vertically more than people give him credit for. His hands are probably second to none. He's just a phenomenal route runner. He kind of wins in different ways than Chase, but I think you have to give the slight edge to Jefferson right now.
Okay.
How many receivers would you take over Jamar Chase? I think I got him at number 5.
Fewer than 5, 100%.
Somewhere around there. Are you worried about Joe Mixon? All kind of a down year last year. I know he had a couple of big games. They also lost P. Ryan to free agency. I know there's been a lot of question about cutting Mixon, whatever. Are you set on Mixon as RB1 this year?
I mean, there's not really anyone else. Like I like Chase Brown for who he was in college, but I'm so indifferent on the running back position in general, especially with how the offense is structured now. It's just like you're in the gun. It's more or less. It looks like a lot of what LSU did with Burrow in 2019, but they're going to try to evolve it a little bit. They're going to try to get more under center. They're going to try to unleash some type of play action game that they couldn't do last year. So the running game is going to look a little bit more diverse, and that may help out Joe Mixon, especially with the offensive line being better, hopefully. But like at this point, he's going to be 27. That's the proverbial cliff that these running backs just fall off of, like in those old cartoons. Like this is his last year in Cincinnati, 100%. Like he's got a few years left. After this year, like you can cut him, you save $10 million. They're going to need all the cap space they can get with these contracts. I think a lot of people did expect him to get cut, but once P. Ryan, like you said, left for Denver, they kind of left them we can't really release Mixon now. We need some type of veteran presence on the team to kind of carry the load. So whether or not he takes like a pay cut or a restructure or whatever the case may be, I don't know. I just know that he's going to be on this team. Probably, I don't think the team is going to straight up release him after only drafting like a 5th-round running back and not really doing anything in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the comment about Irv Smith Jr. when he signed?
Which one?
That he could be the missing piece to a Super Bowl.
I'm not sure I saw that, but I mean,
Irv Smith
Irv Smith
Yeah, he was
said that
about a
he
month
feels
ago,
like
right?
he's the
Like,
missing
like,
piece to the Super Bowl in Cincinnati.
Irv Smith Jr. is a missing piece Super Bowl. I mean, like, I feel like I don't think he's that much better than Hayden Hurst, if better at all.
I think
But
he
that was,
fits in there though pretty well.
that was a very interesting comment I saw, though.
I mean, the guy's confident, I guess. I
They
feel
weren't
like
far off either.
I mean,
The-
there's been a lot of confidence in the Bengals lately. I mean, all the Jamar Chase drama, like rivalry versus the Chiefs. Bengals been talking, trying to build up that rivalry.
Would you say that's the best rivalry in the NFL right now? Bengals Chiefs.
I mean, which one's better? Honestly, like the Chiefs. I just want to say this:
I think
Chiefs are 100%
Eagles
the best
Cowboys
team.
is good.
Fuck that.
I don't think it's that.
Chiefs are by far the best team in the NFL. Like they have the sex, they have the success as well. Like they have the pedigree. They're the best quarterback in the game. They're the best play caller in the game. Oh, there's only one team that's beat them as many times in the past 2 years as the Bengals. That's the Bengals, and they beat them in the biggest stages too, for the most part. Like the Chiefs, I'm not gonna say they feel threatened by the Bengals, but obviously they're annoyed. They're just this pest in their side of trying to build this dynasty, and the Chiefs are where the Bengals want to be. Like they want to have Burrow win multiple rings and everything else. So, like I think a lot of it is like the media is just trying to like poke both sides, see who can say what. But I think there's definitely a great level of animosity with them, just because again they've all been really close games come down to the wire, and it's been like in back-to-back AFC title games. So yeah, I think if it's not the best rivalry in the game right now, like I don't really know what is.
True. All right, final record prediction for the Bengals, and where do you see them in the standings?
How many games they play? 17?
17.
17-0? I'm just kidding.
There we go.
No, I think the ceiling is as high as it's probably ever been, but the AFC North is just a freaking gauntlet.
Mhm.
Like I could easily see like last place in this division winning 8 games. I don't know who that is. Like it could be the Steelers, it could be the Browns, it could even be the Bengals. I don't know, right? I think the Bengals finish around 12. I think 12-5 sounds fine.
Okay.
But before
Zach?
that, though, I did see a tweet from I don't know which one of you it was. It was like beer league football or someone, and he said that Justin Herbert would be more successful than Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And I'm asking,
Yeah, go crazy. Yeah, that's
Whoa,
scary.
whoa. Okay, don't misquote
No.
me now. Don't misquote me, Joe. Don't misquote me.
No,
Okay,
me, Zach,
I specifically said this. I said that Justin Herbert would knock Joe Burrow out of the playoffs.
No, he's talking about what Kerry said.
No, talking about my tweet, Zach.
Oh, he's talking about your tweet? Okay, you go on ahead.
I'm thinking if you put Herbert in that Bengals offense, Higgins, Chase, Boyd, all day, taking that.
No way.
I think Herbert's the better quarterback. Burrow's in a better situation. Burrow's got very lucky. I think they're both great quarterbacks.
You've been
I
riding
think
that shit for years now, bro. You don't get tired of it?
Years. Acting like
about
it's
everywhere.
since like
But they're
2010.
the best young quarterbacks, but I'm still taking Herbert over Burrow. And I think if you put Herbert on the Bengals,
Why?
you're going to see a lot more success if you saw Burrow on the Chargers.
no, but
Wow.
all right, I'm not here to like flat out disagree because honestly, I see the vision, and I think
And honestly,
Herbert is
they're both
he's
great.
he's in the same tier as Burrow 100%. Like, it's just like it's a matter of preferences. Like it's a matter of you value the arm strength and everything like that. I just found it funny because I had to live and create content through a time where everyone said that Joe Burrow should pull an Eli Manning and not go with the Bengals because no one believed that the Bengals could build a team around him.
Yeah.
And now it's to the point where, Justin Herbert needs to be on the Bengals because that would be a better situation. It's just ironic is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I get that.
honestly, if Joe Burrow had a better line the first couple of years, I mean, who knows how successful it could have been even. That with
Yeah.
how bad the Bengals were the first 2 years.
It's definitely been said a lot in Cincinnati, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it definitely played better last year. I mean, it's trending in the right direction. So it couldn't play any worse, but
They sucked in the playoffs, the second half at least, when they got bounced. But it came together in the second half of the regular season. It looked like a respectable line. But, yeah, they need a consistent line, man.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see this year. I got them at 12 wins as well. First
Zach?
place, bro. Tiebreaker.
Yeah.
It's your time.
My last question. I've asked this to every guest we've had on the show during our off-season episodes. That's my last beer of the night right there being popped.
It's not.
What do you? So I'm a big Jags fan. What do you
Yeah.
think the Jaguars' record is this year?
Okay. I mean, who's going to topple them? I like D'Amico and the Texans, but I don't see them winning the division. I'm completely out on the Titans. I'm not expecting anything from Richardson and the Colts right now. So, I think the Jags have a clear path to 10, 11 wins. Honestly, Calvin Ridley, I think he's going to fit well with Lawrence. It's not even like I think the Jags are good. I don't know how far they're going to go into the playoffs, but it's the AFC South. I don't respect that division at all, aside from what the Jags are building. So I see 10, 11 wins.
All right, I love that. I love that a lot.
Trevor, did you ask for rivalry? I can't remember.
No.
Who do you think the best rivalry or the biggest rival for the Bengals is in the AFC North?
Oh, so the popular name is the Steelers, just because it has the most hatred, and I think that factors in. I think it's the Browns though, because there's more shared history and there's a closer level of success between both. The Steelers have the rings; they beat the Bengals 10 consecutive times. There was a point where the Bengals weren't rivals with the Steelers. The Steelers were just better than them. But the Bengals and Browns have always kind of been back and forth, and now it's definitely more closer than it's ever been in recent memory. So I think the biggest rivalry is the Browns, just because of all of those factors, instead of just who hates the other team more.
Funny enough, the Steelers guy actually said the Browns too.
Yeah.
Did not expect that one bit.
Yeah,
All right,
that
well-
was the most shocking thing of the night, honestly.
Not with Trevor. All right, John, thanks so much for coming on. You want to tell us where you can find you again?
Yeah, you can follow my work at a2zsports.com/Cincinnati and follow me on Twitter, John2_Sheeran. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
Good luck to you, the Bengals.
Yep.
All right, final. I don't know if he
So
said
first
final.
off, no, pause. So at work, I have to say my pleasure when someone says thank you. And I just
You
did
got
it then,
pleasure out
and
of
it's
that?
just-
You work at Chick-fil-A or something?
No, it's just something we have to do. And I did it there, and I'm sorry.
Nope.
You got
My
pleasure out
pleasure.
of that, Zach?
Huh?
You got pleasure out of that?
I get pleasure
You
out of
did.
a lot of things, Trevor.
Interesting.
All right, final. I'm gonna take the Bengals at 10 wins. Is my final.
Whoa!
10 wins.
12 wins.
I was thinking 12 as well. Carrie, do you want to make a bet?
Not really.
Over under 11 wins?
I don't really trust it, but I'm trying to make all the averages work out because I feel like I gave too many wins earlier. So I'm gonna say 10. But I can
Bro,
see
don't make it work out. Just do you, bro.
Yeah,
make it
just
work out. Bro.
come on. Over under 11 wins. Let's make a bet.
Over.
Wait, then you have to take 12 wins.
Wait, I gave the Ravens 11, the Steelers 10, the Browns 8. I'm giving them 10. Yeah.
So you
But
take
I'm
an
not-
under.
I'm not betting on that. I will not bet on that.
Oh my
I'll bet you.
God.
I will bet you on other stuff, but I'll not bet you on that ever.
Okay, so when Beerly Football
find another.
podcast listeners, you
Come
heard
on,
it here
Carrie,
first.
Oh, man.
Carrie,
Stand on your shit.
yeah, stand on your
don't
shit,
know.
Carrie. Come on.
I won on this one.
Carrie
I won't.
doesn't stand on his shit. So whenever you
I know.
follow him instead of following me at Beerly Zach, you know that you're not getting real takes. You're
Getting
some
great
fake
takes.
bullshit. All right.
Before we go to rapid fire, Trevor, is there anything else you want to say on your top 10 list? I know we didn't quite finish it up, but
Nah. Don't be hating when I'm right at the end of the year.
Wait,
though.
wait,
Keep
wait.
that
Hold
thing
on.
in.
Let's look up this top 10 list. Do you have it in front of you, Carrie, or no?
I can pull it up. I'll read it off, Zach. I got you.
Okay.
Let's listen to this dumbass. All right. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. I think we all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, Jalen Hurts. In what world is he better than Allen Burrow?
I think he's going to have the second best year among quarterbacks. That's why I put him at number
That's a
2.
wild take. First off, I'm just going to say, I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
He's
'Cause he
not
played
better than
perfect
Allen
this last
Burrow.
year. He did this past year. He was second in MVP, and he played a tremendous season. He played a great Super Bowl, too.
Burrow was better quarterback than Hurts. Easily last year.
I don't think so. No.
If you put Lamar Jackson in the Eagles, he'd put up better numbers.
Harry, don't. If we start talking about stuff that happened last year, don't say if you put Lamar Jackson.
I'm actually very surprised.
By the way, another great tweet from Beerly Trev Scott. A lot can be learned from High School Musical 2.
Yes.
That's what you get from following him on Twitter.
There's some other good ones on there, man.
I'm very surprised you have Burrow so low. So you Josh
Allen the fourth best season out of all the quarterbacks.
Josh Allen is crazy. I don't know where you're thinking about best seasons when it's top 10 quarterbacks. Your giant graphic literally says top 10 quarterbacks in giant wording, but you're saying about their best season. But
these will be the top 10 quarterbacks of the 2023-2024
Aaron
season.
Rodgers at 5 is ambitious. I'm a big Rodgers fan, but that's ambitious.
It's possible, but I don't think it's likely.
Do you hear what I'm saying, though? These will be the top 10 quarterbacks.
I understand what you're saying. I'm saying I disagree.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Six Lamar Jackson. I'm fine with Lamar there.
I could see that one, going south, though.
7 is Tua.
I could see that going either way, honestly.
No, with Tua, if he stays completely healthy, I could see it happening. But everything has to go perfectly right for him to be at 7. Which I just don't
that's true. I agree with that, Kerry. I'm 100% with you.
For 5 weeks last year, definitely. But I don't think it's going to happen for a full year. 8, Jared Goff.
Love that.
I'm very surprised.
He finished top 10 this year, and they got more weapons, so why not?
Yeah.
And Rodgers is gone.
But I hate putting him over Herbert and Lawrence.
Okay.
And Dak and Matthew Stafford, dude.
Yeah,
what are you
Stafford
thinking?
is a weird one. You've hated on Stafford for years. I don't know why you haven't.
He gets to throw to Cooper Kupp.
The only reason you have there is you have an agenda against Herbert and Lawrence. You don't want to put him.
That's not true because I have Geno Smith and somebody else in front of them too. Kirk Cousins.
Oh my God, are you serious?
And Derek Carr.
No, he's trolling. He's trolling just to piss me off. He is targeting me specifically by saying he has Geno Smith.
Zach, Trevor has said he's an agenda against Jags fan this year, and he's going to take on Trevor. Trevor Lawrence is going to be his new Herbert.
Oh my God,
That's
dude! Please make him your new Herbert. Make him your new Herbert so I can own you every week like I did last year. You remember how many bets you won against me last year?
Trevor was scared. Jags fans were going after him on Twitter. He was scared. I mean, Chargers fans are...
He played okay for half a season, bro. That's not enough to solidify on the top 10 for me.
He was easily a top 10 quarterback last year.
Absolutely.
And now he's Calvin Ridley.
Absolutely. And he added a weapon. So. You're like, oh, Jared Goff was top 10 last year and he added weapons. What did Trevor Lawrence do?
Trevor Lawrence wasn't top 10 last year.
Bro, you're tripping. You're high. You're high. Listen, I know you smoked the spliff. Okay? But now's the time to get off it.
Shit the bed.
Huh?
The defense won them the game. That's how they got to the playoffs.
The defense won the game.
Yes.
They won one game. They won the playoff game. That doesn't mean he didn't lead them the rest. They were nowhere without Trevor Lawrence.
Absolutely right.
To get them in the playoffs.
Trevor Lawrence
couldn't score, but I think the defense scored twice.
Still like 4 touchdowns in that second half or something like that.
I'm just saying, I like.
Wait, Trevor, is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time?
Greatest, yes.
Okay. His defense never won him a game? Is that what you're saying?
Greatness plays into that, though.
Joe Burrow has never...
Oh my God!
Everybody's...
I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up because Trevor literally just said... Trevor literally just made the argument... Tom Brady inspires his defense to play well.
No, I didn't.
He literally just said that without saying that.
Your boy Joe Burrow would have lost to Tyler Huntley in the playoffs last year if his defense didn't force a fumble at the 1-yard line.
Absolutely.
But you weren't even watching that game. You were asleep, so I don't want to hear it.
I wasn't asleep. I was passed out. There's a difference. But...
All right. Any last comments before we go to rapid fire, Trevor? Because your list is pretty bad.
Did we do? Yeah, we did. Never mind. Let's go rapid fire.
My list will be next week. Zach's will be the week after. Check it out on Twitter at Beerly Football. Actually, before we do rapid fire, quick, just run through our final standings for the AFC North.
All right. I have the Bengals at 12-5. I have the Ravens at 10-7. I have the Steelers at 9-7-1. That's right. 9-7-1. Mark it. If I guess that correctly, everyone on this podcast.
Free cookie.
Huh?
You get a free cookie.
Okay, Carrie's buying me a cookie if I guess that correctly. And then I have the Cleveland Browns at, what did I say? I think 7 wins, 7-10.
Something like that's fine.
I'm sorry.
Was that right? I don't know. We'll call it right.
You have to. Who cares as long as you have the standings
I think
right.
I said 7-10.
I'm not even going to try the records because I don't remember. I'm taking Ravens first. I'm taking Steelers second. I'm taking Bengals third.
Whoa! Whoa! Shit, bro.
That's life, bro. That's life.
That's wild, bro.
Life. Prescott.
I got the Bengals and the Browns both winning 12 games, with the Bengals finishing in first place. 10 wins for the Ravens and 7 wins for the Steelers. I don't even know if that's all going to check out, but it's what it's going to say on the graphics.
Good enough. There.
All
right, rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
For their new tweets lately, it's going to be covering stuff from last week, unfortunately.
Nice.
So check out an NFC North episode last week. A lot of these are going to be NFC North related tweets.
Absolutely.
Who's the GOAT Packers quarterback? Guys like Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Bart Starr.
I'm interested to see what you guys say. Brett
Trevor, you know
Favre?
who that is.
Brett
I'm going to say
Favre?
Favre if we're talking about greatness, yeah.
I'm
If you say
taking
best,
Rodgers.
I'll say Aaron Rodgers.
It's absolutely Rodgers. What
Starr
the-
will know what's rings, though.
Huh?
I think Starr had like 5 rings.
Yeah, but that was back before he threw the football, so.
I don't know. I'm taking Rodgers, though. All right, name an NFL player that needs to be talked about more.
Ooh, there's so many.
I would say
thinking
Justin Herbert.
God, no. In a
I'm
good
serious.
way, bud. In a good way.
Oh,
I'm taking Ramondre Stevenson. Top back. Nobody talks about him.
Tyler Algier, or however you say his last
Yeah,
name.
that's a good one.
I agree with
like
that.
it.
But I'm going with, I think Amari Cooper. I don't think he gets enough respect.
He's a beast.
And,
He's always
it's
had,
on
like,
brand for this episode as well. He's
had, like-
a much better wide receiver than he gets credit for.
He's always had mediocre quarterback play, too. Like, he put up big numbers with Brissett last year.
Yeah.
All right, where do you rank Larry Fitzgerald among wide receivers of all time?
That's
not-
impossible. That's impossible
not-
to rank.
He's not top 10.
He's top 8 or 9. He's top 9.
I think he's top 15.
You clown me to Phil for saying he's not top 10 and you put him top 9?
Yes.
Wow. He might be the most overrated wide receiver of all time.
That's a ridiculous statement.
He's
That's
very consistent, but he was never great. He was
He's
never the
very
best.
consistent, but he was never great. So he's very consistent until the age of like 42, and he was never
never the
great.
best.
That's an incredible statement, Carrie. He was
Yeah,
very
he-
consistent for 30 years.
He doesn't mean greatness. Was he ever the best wide receiver in the NFL at any point in his career?
Was half of the top 10 receivers ever the best receiver in the NFL at any point in their career?
Yeah. Jerry Rice was. Randy Moss was. Calvin Johnson was.
Name 7
The
more.
white guys from the 60s were.
Huh?
Larry Fitzgerald was never the top receiver in the NFL. I don't know why people put him in like top 5. He's nowhere near top 5.
I don't think he's top 5.
He always
But
better
you
than
give him
Fitzgerald.
so much disrespect, it's crazy. Like
I'm
you're
saying
the
he's
way
top 10
you're
he's
the
like
way
top 10,
you,
top 12
you're
all
the way
time.
Trevor is about Justin Herbert, about Larry
Yeah.
Fitzgerald.
Slander.
No, that
not
is
even
absolutely
close.
facts.
No, come
That is
on.
absolutely
That is not
facts. It's
That is not
ridiculous. Like you make up ways to slander Larry Fitzgerald the same way Trevor. When we're talking about something completely different, we'll talk about Justin Herbert.
In his life. I've talked about Larry Fitzgerald like 2 episodes.
No, it's been 3 in a row now, and I'm starting to get concerned.
I mean, no,
I'm going to have to defend Larry Fitzgerald and Justin Herbert every podcast for the rest of time.
Wait till the Trevor Lawrence slander comes soon.
Bro, I'm going to fight somebody over Trevor Lawrence slander. I'm not even kidding.
Describe Dan Campbell in 1 word.
Dan.
Raspy.
I'm going to fucking say it, guys. I'm going to fucking say it. And it's the first time I've said that about... it's the second time I've ever said that about anybody besides us 3. Or everyone that does a podcast on the Beerly Network. They're fucking Beerly. Dan Campbell is fucking Beerly.
He's Beerly.
I don't hate that.
All right, true or false? Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the NFL. For real.
Best? Nah. Give me Tay.
He's the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Who's your favorite Green Bay Packers player of all time?
Ryan Grant, believe it or not.
Green Bay Packers fan? Actually, I love that pick, Trevor. I'm going a different way. I'm going... Who should I go with? Go ahead, Kerry.
Dude, I'm going to take the fat guy. Eddie Lacy.
Oh, actually...
I'm going to go even fatter. Give me BJ Raji.
That's what I was going to say,
yeah. What you got, Raji?
All right, I feel like we did this last week, but I'm going to do it again. Rank the NFC North quarterbacks heading into the season. For me, it is Goff, Kirk, Fields, Love.
We already talked about this last week. I don't need to answer. Go watch last week's episode.
I forgot.
We had some recording issues, but the final episode turned out really good, so check it out.
Did. All right, true or false? These are the 3 greatest quarterbacks of all time. Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning.
3 greatest quarterbacks of all time?
Not saying in order, but they are just the 3 greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah,
I'm going to go false, and I'm not going to specify that any further.
I just want to say we hit over 1,000 replies on this tweet, and there was an insane, probably hundreds of people that wanted Mahomes there already.
Dang.
That's wild.
He definitely
I think Mahomes, absolutely, if he stays on the same trajectory he's at, will be there.
Yeah, but he's not there yet.
And he'll kick out one of those 3. I won't specify which one, but...
I'd say Manning. For me.
I know what you'd say, Kerry, Patriots fan.
Who'd you say?
Biased motherfucker.
If I had to kick out what?
Sorry, I'm not supposed to cuss on this podcast. I'm sorry.
If Mahomes kicks out one of those 3, who are you kicking out? Manning?
Between Brady, Manning, and who?
Montana.
Joe Montana.
This is rap.
What?
I knew it.
He's old, bro. I don't care.
What?
That's
Oh my god, the man changed the game.
All right. Who is the best cornerback here? Charles Woodson, Champ Bailey, Ty Law. What's the guy? Rondé Barber. What's his name?
Oh, I love Rondé Barber.
I love Rondé Barber too. Woodson, I'm biased. I'm gonna say Rondé, but I don't think he's the best. But I'm gonna say
Charles
Rondé.
Woodson. I love Ty Law. I'm biased. I'm thinking Charles Woodson. All right. Trigger this fan base in 1 sentence. Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is never going to win anything in his career.
I love that, Gary.
Really?
Trigger the fan base in 1 second.
1 sentence.
1 sentence.
Hi, my name's Jerry Jones, and I'm a racist.
I'm gonna say this. It's 3 words. Remember the 90s?
All right. Who's your favorite college football player of all time?
Ryan Mallett.
Oh God, my favorite college football player of all time.
I'm thinking Johnny Football.
That's not a bad pick. That's a good pick.
Devo's
Johnny Football is a good pick for favorite college football player. Here's the thing, though. I couldn't pick him because I didn't think he was a very good quarterback.
It's your favorite. That's all that matters.
Zach, just say Brad Kaya and let's go.
It's not Brad Kaya. Definitely not Brad Kaya.
Just say Ja'Cory Harris.
It's not Ja'Cory Harris either. I don't even think it's a Miami guy.
Say Clive Walford would be number
Honestly, and you guys are going to hate me for this, Trent Richardson, honestly. In college, absolute fucking monster.
All right, who's the greatest quarterback in the history of your favorite team? I'm a Patriots fan, easily Brady.
God, it's
Trevor's
tough for me.
Zach's a little bit of a question mark. I don't know if you can say Lawrence yet.
Say David Gerhard, bro.
I'm still going to say Lawrence because I think he is my favorite quarterback of my favorite. Oh, greatest? He's provided some great moments. I cried like 3 times last year.
I think he will be. I just don't think he's there yet.
I'm going to pick him as the greatest because he's the greatest for me. I understand if older Jags fans are like, Gerard, Brunell, I get it. But for me, it's Lawrence.
All right, who is the most underrated quarterback in the NFL right now? It is Ryan Tannehill.
Kerry, shut up, man.
Has no weapon.
Tannehill.
He's not that bad.
Underrated. I hate to say this because I don't think they're going to be very good this year, but I honestly think it's Derek Carr.
Fair.
Most underrated.
I think Derek Carr gets so much hate. It's not his fault.
Yeah, he got hated on today because he's like the reason I left the Raiders because they made my wife cry or something.
Simp.
Trevor?
Can I change my answer?
I'm not. Did I say Tua? I'm gonna say Tua.
Why? Tua
Name
gets so
Chicago-
much love, it's ridiculous.
No way.
Name a Chicago Bears quarterback better than Jay Cutler. He can't.
That's absolutely true.
Trevor?
Nah, I guess you can't.
All right, have you guys seen the dragon meme? That's like 3 like scary looking dragons.
Yes. I actually know what video that's from. Like the original YouTube video, I know what that's from.
Sure. All right. So these are the 4 quarterbacks of what division? The 3 strong ones and the one little joke one.
By the way,
AFC West,
the channel is called How It Should Have Ended. Very good channel. You guys should check it out.
Nobody cares.
Not paid advertisement.
I'm gonna say it's the AFC East with Mac Jones as the little dumb dragon.
Really?
Sadly.
There's
There's a lot
of
of
the AFC West with Herbert's dumbass.
I knew that was coming.
The AFC West. Who's the? And you're saying that Garoppolo is a big strong dragon.
And Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous take. Okay.
Don't hate on Jimmy G. Come on.
Okay.
Jerry.
Make a bet with me. You gonna go QBR Herbert over Jimmy Garoppolo?
No.
Of course you're not, because that would be a stupid take. That'd be a stupid bet. What? Okay. What bet do you want to make in the AFC West? What bet do you want to make?
I don't know. It's the AFC West, man.
Yeah, absolutely no bet because
The
Trevor
Chiefs
is
will
not
win
a
the
man of his
division.
word, just like Kerry wasn't earlier.
True.
The Chiefs
All right.
will win the division.
Wait,
I'll
I
take
didn't
that
give
bet.
my answer. The answer is obviously
There's a few divisions.
honestly,
There's a few it could be.
it could be a few.
NFC.
Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna go with. Damn, I'm gonna go with. Actually, keep it on brand. I'm gonna go the NFC North or the AFC North,
Pickett.
and I'm gonna go with Pickett. I just don't believe in the guy. I'm sorry.
It could also be the NFC East with Howell.
That's
Hurts,
true
Jones,
as well.
and
I
Jack.
think honestly, NFC East is a better
There's
take.
a few. You can honestly say the NFC North too with like Love.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know what he's gonna be. I mean, he
True.
could throw for 30 touchdowns. He could throw for 30 interceptions. We don't know.
All right. Final question: is Daniel Jones overrated, properly rated, or underrated? I'm saying properly.
He's properly. He's overpaid, but he's properly rated.
I agree with Trevor. That is the best take you've had all night. I
Thank
agree
you.
with that. Way overpaid, but properly rated. Most people put him right in that like 12 to 15 category. I think that's pretty accurate. But very overpaid for what he brings to that football team.
I wonder if I can make a case for him over Herbert.
Dude, you dream about this shit, don't you? You just dream about it.
I don't think so, but I'm gonna think about it.
Zach, did you go through some of those? Did you see the comments on his top 10 list?
Well, let me see. I can
one
pull up Beerly football pretty quick.
One of them was like,
By the way, if you don't have the noties up for Beerly football, what are you doing?
I tweet a lot. I retweet stuff a lot, but no, one of them was like, some Chargers fan was mad that he didn't put him on his top 10. So he posted, like, he looked up Trevor Scott's 10 most tweeted words, and his number 1 and 2 were Justin and Herbert.
And like choke, check down, Herb check down
Yeah,
was all in there.
Herb check down was like 5. Trevor, I can't wait till he proves you wrong this year.
Who?
Herbert.
Okay, you said that last year.
It doesn't even matter. Herbert can have 50 touchdowns and Trevor's still going to
Well, listen, I already put my predictions in. It's Zach Stradamus. You already know what's
He's a
happening.
good quarterback.
He's
a fine
listen,
quarterback.
honestly,
I don't have
Beerly
any problem
football
with it.
listeners, if you have not already placed your bets on Prize Picks, DraftKings, whatever you use to bet with,
Right picks. Use Beerly football in your thing. I will match your discount.
actually,
Whatever.
that's actually a better thing. Use the Beerly football discount code, and
Is that Beerly NFL?
we'll match your bet up to,
Yeah,
what is
Beerly
it,
NFL.
25?
100.
100? We'll match your
100.
bet up to $100. Goddamn! How have you guys not already done that?
I don't know.
Already match your bet. Take the over on whatever Justin Herbert touchdowns and yards is. It's gonna be a good year for Justin
Sure.
Herbert. I'm already telling you guys. I
always a
can't
great year
say
for
more. He's added weapons. The offense looks good,
They're healthy.
and that's all I have to say. Do we have any more? What are they? Rapid fire questions?
We're all done, Zach. Let's promote us and get out of here. 2 hours in the episode.
Alrighty. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at BeerlyZach on Twitter. They call me Zach Stradamus for a reason. I will be tweeting out for the remainder of the offseason all my picks for the end of the year. It's going to be excellent. If you guys want to win money, follow me and follow me, if you understand what I'm saying.
Follow him in the desert.
I will place my bets. You will place your bets, and we'll all win. Alrighty. Next up, Trevor, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, man. Just wanted to say, if you haven't already, check us out on Twitter. We've mentioned it a few times, at Beerly Football and at Beerly Sports. We got a hockey wing, a hockey podcast, and a hockey Twitter that's going to have a lot of fun this offseason with some graphics, some episodes, a lot of fun stuff like that. So definitely check in with them. If you're a beer fan or a hockey fan, they're the Beerly Hockey Podcast, anywhere you can find podcasts. And my Twitter is at Beerly Trev Scott. And we'll be dropping some fun graphics, some interactive graphics like that. So that's all I got to say.
Alright.
Follow me at Beerly Carey. I give you great opinions every day that I actually believe in, unlike Zach says I do.
Wait. Okay. False statement there. Biggest false statement of the year. I'm the only one that stands by my picks, okay? Because I'm Zach Stradamus.
Follow us on Twitter, Beerly Football, for rapid fire content before it comes out on the show. Also, check out our new Instagram page at Beerly Football. You get all our Beerly content on there as well.
Alrighty.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you follow us all on all the platforms we just stated. And we will see you guys next episode. As we close out this episode, I'm going to chug this beer.
Yes.